Are you struggling to beat Ricardo, or Leihang, or just anything in general because your build is just terrible? Or are you looking for a build because you don't know what to do or use, or just don't want something to boost your cortisol lower or something like that?
You stupid!
Well, you're in luck because I'm showcasing few of the best PVE builds in Archive. Oh my god. If you are wondering what these builds are capable of, the build consists of rated gameplay, high consistent damage, and self-sustainability. It's self-explanatory. I don't need to say anything further. These clips already enough proof these builds could just help you beat everything before the House of Spiders update. And oh yeah, in the process of the video, I'll also be explaining how to use these builds, and I'll probably add on some tips to how to beat the bosses as well. So yeah, anyways, before the video starts, I'd like to say something. I want to apologize to you guys for not uploading for like 15 days. I'm totally not procrastinating or anything like that. Jokes aside, I'm actually really sorry because I actually anticipated to see my next video coming up. The process of making videos is just a mental stroke for me because I'm a solo editor, you see. I make my videos by myself, so I tend to burn out a lot so easily because I wanted to upgrade my editing skills even further for you guys. Well, that's all I gotta say. I'm sorry wasting y'all's time, so if you guys want to give feedbacks or support my channel, I'll be really grateful because I'm sort of new doing these type of content. It'll help me a lot. And y'all's support could really mean so much to me. It'll feel like I accomplished something in my life, so thank you. Anyways, if you guys have some questions or something, you can just ask me in the comment section. I'm obliged to answer them for you guys. Well, that's all I gotta say. Let's get right into the video. Bye bye. The first build we're going to talk about is personally my favorite because it's my build. I've been running this build for so long, I don't know how long, but till this day it's still the same. For the weapon I'm using Old Boy's Workshop because in general this weapon is just really good for PvE. A medium weapon with a decently fast swing and a heavy charge attack that feels fast compared to other weapons I've used, and the crit. Oh man, do not let me talk about the crit, bro. The crit is such a good crit because it hits grounded enemies and as a combo extender. And it also provides 2 light if you hit the quick time event. Forgot to mention the crit cooldown is 16 seconds, which is damn, that is fast. But there is a downside to using this weapon. That is, it's only good for a single target. It sort of struggles to clear a crowd of enemies that are capable of ganking or interrupting you. But don't worry, there's always going to be an alternative, which is Ebony Stump Cutlass and Arcorp Hammer. These weapons are generally my favorite alternatives to use for this build. I always pocket one of them with my silencing gloves to take care of the crowd of enemies that are capable of ganking me, or I don't know. But I sort of really like using Ebony Stump Cutlass more because this weapon is literally made for crowd control, like literally. It can clear Librarian Nuggets in just like 4 crits if you stack them up properly. Let me just show you a clip of satisfaction here. You can solo libraries using this weapon without silencing gloves singularity. You can watch my last video to see me beat the block silence twice just by using Ebony Stump Cutlass. It's at the end of the video. Now, onto Arcorp Hammer. Arcorp Hammer is also good. The crit has a pretty good AoE, but it's a heavy weapon, so yeah. Expect yourself to lose a M1 trading against the enemy because of how incredibly slow the weapon is. Overall, the weapon itself is really good, but yeah, it's not my preferences, so sorry for the Arcorp Hammer user out there. Onto key pages. The key page I'm using for this build is Middle Little Sibling key page. If you're wondering why, it's because of the equalizer ego give. I'll explain the ego give after this part. Besides that, this key page has enhancement tattoos, which is the carrier of this build. Because of this build, I'm capable of doing because of this passive, I'm capable of doing 90 damage on my hair coupons. If you're wondering what the enhancement tattoos do, each enhancement tattoo stack you have, you gain 10% more damage, and the max stack is 5, so that's a whopping 50% damage buff. And the stacks also negate damage based on how much stacks you have. Like, imagine someone doing like 20 damage. I'm gonna just assume that you have like 5 stacks, so it'll just eat like some of the damage by 5, so it's like 15 or less. I don't know, my math sucks. The only way to proc this status effect is either parrying guard breaking moves or charge them 1. Yeah, you can see which one is the best here. For the alternative key pages I'll be using are Calm Free Dog and Middle Big Sibling. Use these alternatives if you want to play it safe, because the middle little sibling resistance is really bad, so yeah. Onto ego gifts. The ego gifts I'm using here are Equalizer and Small Beak. Okay, this is where it explains the Equalizer. Equalizer uses your lowest resistances to make the enemies weak against a certain resistance. That's why I'm using Middle Little Sibling, because it's weak against blunt, and all of my moves are blunt, so I'll be doing like extra damage to the enemy. But the downside of this ego gift that it'll make you take the lowest resistance. Like, if you don't understand, like imagine a slash move doing a damage to you, it'll consider that as a blunt. So yeah, onto Small Beak. This ego gift has potential, but I don't see people use this ego gifts on their build. So Small Beak is able to make your skill pages cheaper by 1 or 2, but it'll sacrifice like a bit of your HP. It's not a passive ego gift, but an active, so yeah, it has a cooldown. You can take the Ebony Stem Cutlass clip for example of the Small Beak ego gift in action. For the alternatives ego gift I'd be using are Shatterbound and Aspiration. I'm sorta lazy to explain here, so here's the image of their description. But quick summary about these ego gifts, that it just buffs you and it also kills you. Onto the skill pages. I'll keep this short. The skill pages I'll be using are my hair coupons for the damage source and paralyze, Stamp of Vengeance for damage and AoE clearance, the greatest shockwave for extra damage and stagger, and Purify for 10% more damage from the debuff. The last skill slot can be anything you'd like, so yeah, your choice. I use top 1 this just to get 25 blood feeds and 1 stored blood. For the race, I highly recommend Bloodfiend for the race because Bloodfiend has a passive called Store Blood. Certain Store Blood, you get like a buff at like 5 Store Blood. You will deal 50% more damage, but the downside of it is that you take 30% more damage. But that won't matter because of enhancement tattoos negating some of the damage, and you also have a passive heal that heals you by 10 when the set Store Blood start decaying. And oh yeah, it also makes you heal your injuries, so say goodbye to Keiko or MP or the doctor. But most importantly, the Unseals or Bloodfiend Ego regenerates light, and it also doesn't have like any exclusive ego key page, so you are keeping your normal key page outfit instead of some stupid stuff like these. Like, what do they do? Unsealed also has a buff of an ego has, like your dash goes even further and some extra coin power. So the best Unsealed to use is the Prince of the Parade. It's no debate because the rest are just bad. The Prince of the Parade moves are really good. The first move, it hits grounded and it gives decent bleed to the enemy to provide you like some blood fees. But the best one is the second move. The second move is capable of almost healing you up to max if you hit the conditional, but most of the time I'm not even using the ego moves. It's only situational if it's the prime redness. For the human, I highly do not recommend using ego as a human because it'll get rid of your key page outfit, which is the enhancement tattoos. So yeah, don't use ego. And also, good luck. On to Sin Affinities. The Sin Affinity I'm using on this build are 30 Shin for regained mind for that SP gain from charge in once, and Mang for the extra damage. 10 Rav for battle ignition for that 20% damage buff for a few seconds. Purify can proc this, by the way. And for the Drake augmentation chip, Paranoid for extra damage and for primitive dungeons. Shimmering for extra light from parrying guard breaking moves, and Immovable. Immovable is just for momentum because parry pushback ruins momentum so much, so you can just switch this to something that you like. The best singularities to use for this build is most definitely going to be silencing gloves, just so I can switch between Old Boy's Workshop and Ebony Stem Cutlass for AoE clearance. For alternatives, you can just use wherever you want. Shockwave, W Corp, just whatever you call it. I'm going to keep this simple. The key play here is just spam hold control M1 to do heavy charge M1 for light and enhancement tattoo stacks. And after that, follow up with Purify, and then boom, you can start playing. You can just start spamming your moves. You can just start spamming AoE, blah 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 blah, yeah, what you have. I'm gonna get into showcase now, so you guys can see how this build is executed.
큰 거 하나 쓸란게. 이 자석은 깨지 말어야. 젠장! 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 젠장!
내게는 고통밖에 없습니다.
개불어야.
This build that I'm about to showcase is really fun in PvE because of the atrocious damage it can do consistently. It's also well known in the archive community for its cheesiness. I'm going to keep the showcase short by now because I wasted so much time in the first build. For the weapons, there are like many options for weapons, but it comes to these three right here. Fixer Spear, Whales Industry, and Ebony Stem Cutlass. Okay, let's talk about Fixer Spear first. Fixer Spear, this weapon is really good for proccing the Rupture and some light. It has a fast swing, which is really good for the key page outfit that I'm going to talk about after this part. But the downside of this weapon that it's single target, so yeah, it's sort of difficult to clear out a group of enemies at once. Onto Whales Industry. This weapon is similar to the Fixer Spear, but it doesn't give any Rupture or light, so it's just for the M1s because it's capable of doing like extra 10 damage on the last hit. But the downside of this weapon that there's currently a stiffy mode bug happening lately that they forgot to fix with heavy weapons. When the enemies parry you, it parries your M1 and you spam your M1 in the middle of the parry, the game considers the second M1 to be executed, and yeah, it'll make you go stiffy mode for the M1 duration. And second, the weapon is slow because it's a heavy weapon. And third, same reason as the Fixer Spear, it's single target, so yeah, it's gonna be difficult to clear a crowd of enemies. But these many downsides doesn't make the weapon terrible. You'll see it in action soon and see why it's used in the Rupture build, even though it doesn't give any Rupture. Onto Ebony Stem Cutlass. This weapon is what fixes the gap of what Rupture is lacking, which is the lack of AoE clearance. Because Rupture is a single targeting status effect that is sorta hard to maintain because it can easily be loosened up because of each hit will decrease the count by 1. So yeah, the downside of this weapon that there is no downside. This weapon is just the GOAT. This short explanation is just really good. For the alternatives, any of the weapons that are mentioned can be used if those three does not fit your preferences. So yeah. For the key pages, this key page is the most crucial part of this Rupture build that there are no alternatives, and that outfit is the 7 Association, the normal one, not the specialist or any majig of the fucking 7 Association, the 7 Association. If you're wondering why it's so crucial, it's because of the cut in half passive. As the image shows, it's capable of doing true damage equivalent to how much Rupture the enemies has. Like, imagine if they have 80 Rupture and you did a flourish on them. That's going to do 80 damage. So yeah. Another crucial part for this build is the Talisman Ego gift. What it does that it gives 3 Rupture to the enemy for every 20 damage on a single hit you do. And that's where the 7 Association key page come in action. That's where the crucial part of the 7 Association comes. If you have like 20 Rupture on the enemy and you do the final hit, like the final M1 or flourish when they still have like 20 Rupture on them, it will proc the Talisman Ego gift and it will do 20 plus. If you have like more Rupture, you can do more damage on every flourish you do. Yeah, you see where this is going. For the skill pages, for the Rupture inflicting moves, you only needed 2, which is Swash and
Profiling.
But only if you have this Sin Affinity trait, which is most likely because you're running Rupture. Those 2 moves could do 26 or more Rupture, which is enough to start the funsies, you know. You can also add on Execute Prescript just in case one of those moves got parried. For the last 2 skill pages I use are Stamp of Vengeance and my hair coupons for AoE clearance. You can switch those last 2 to your preferred skill pages if you want. For the race, I recommend Blood Fiend because of the passive healing it gives and 15% more damage. It's recommended, not required. Human is also okay, it gives more light because Blood Fiend is stuck at grade 2, which lowers their light capacity by 1. But as a human, just don't pop ego as a human. For ego and unseals, okay, let's talk about unseals first. For the unseal, Prince of the Parade, I use Prince of the Parade for the unseal for doubling my blood feast and store blood upon using the second move. And also for the light regen because unseal gives light regen and no exclusive unseal you would get as well. For the ego, you can use Ebony Stem for the ego, but I don't recommend popping ego as a human, as I said, because it will replace the cut in half passive just for this stupid one. Just don't pop ego as a human. The Sin Affinities I'm using are just 35 Rupture just for the tier 2 shreds to provide you 1.5 more Rupture. If you have extra points, you can put it on Wrath or Battle Ignition. And for the traits, as I said, Paranoid for extra damage and primitive dungeons, Shimmering for extra life from parrying guard-breaking moves, and Immovable. Immovable is just for momentum because parry pushback ruins my momentum so much, so you can just switch this to something else if this doesn't, I don't know, if you don't like it. For the singularities, I highly recommend Silencing Gloves as the singularity because it'll just help you switch between situational weapons like single target and AoE clearance. And there is also a fun discovery that requires the Silencing Gloves singularity, which is the clips I showed you guys. You need the Fixer Chainsaw or any chainsaw weapons. To use this build, get 7 light first and then use both Swash and Profiling to get the required Rupture. Okay, here's something. Before committing, like using both Swash and Profiling, I recommend parrying the enemy first so they're on cooldown. And lastly, do the 4-1 or floor to proc the talisman by cut and half passive and boom. That's how the storage goes. And another fun way to use this build, which requires the Silencing Gloves, similar to the first one, but when you have like 50 or more Rupture, and when the enemy is about to stagger, switch to the chainsaw weapon and do the flourish. Because the chainsaw weapons has like a lingering M1, instead of like 1 M1, it's 3 M1s. So your flourish is gonna do 3 M1s. So yeah, you can see where it's going. It will do a massive amount of damage. It will proc the Rupture by a lot, but it only works when the enemy is standing still, like stagger or in the middle of using a hyper armor move and you do a flourish on them. It won't work on enemies that are like, yeah, not standing still like I said, because the flourish is gonna do like 1 flourish. Like it's gonna consider it as 1 flourish because yeah, they're standing still and they're gonna get knocked back. Enough talking, I'm gonna get into showcase now. Bye bye.
Yeah! 젠장! 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 젠장!
내게는 고통밖에 없습니다.
개보라야.
Before I showcase the next build, I want to shout out to both Cassie and Temmie for providing me for this build. Give them some love, if y'all ever meet them. Not romantically, but respect. This build is similar to the first build that I showcased, but this one is mostly focused on defense more than offense. This build is also really good if you guys want to learn the boss mechanic fully, because this build is a, yeah, as I said, it's a full-on defense build. It's actually beginner friendly. If you guys are like just, I don't know, really bad at this game, you can just try this build out. The weapon I'm using is going to be blue sack. It's really crucial for the weapon, so there are no alternatives. So if you're wondering what the weapon do, it can heal you on crit, but there's a conditional for it, which is getting like 35 SP, which is not that much of a problem. It restores your HP equals to your dice roll. Like if you have like 22 dice roll, you're gonna heal up 22 HP. That's how good it is. It also works on multiple enemies. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that it also gives 2 protection. So yeah, you're basically unkillable. The key page I'll be using are the key page of the enhancement tattoos, like Calm Stray Dog, Middle Little Sibling, or Middle Big Sibling. Okay, I'm too lazy to explain it again, so you gotta go to the first build to see what the enhancement tattoos do again. Sorry. Skill pages I'll be using are Stamp of Vengeance or my hair coupons for the damage dealing or DPS. You can switch those to some heavy hitting moves if you don't have them, like Pitchback Fluorizer or any high damaging move that you can think of. The rest are just charge moves. Well, most importantly, the charge here for extra HP layering and yeah, protection, I guess. The race is Blood Fiend. It's recommended, not required. As I say, it's really good for this build because of the passive healing you get. But if you're a human, it's okay because enhancement tattoos and blue sack is what holds the entire build together. Blood Fiend passive heal just makes you more unkillable with this build. For the unseal, use Prince of the Raid. For the ego, just don't pop ego. Fast explanation, I'm not gonna waste any time. For the Sin affinities, you could either go full Envy or 30 Shin for SP, but I recommend Envy heavily just for charge shield synchronization. For the traits, okay, same shit. Paranoid, Shimmering, and Immovable. For the singularities, you can use whatever singularities that fit in your shoes, but I highly recommend Manifested Armor Singularity because it'll maximize your dice roll, which is going to make your blue sack hammer's value heal. I mean, the heal, yeah, it just heals you a lot. This build key play is similar to the first build, but you need 35 SP first or more at the start, and then boom, you can just do whatever you want. It's that simple. This build is a no-brainer. It's just really simple to use. Even an infant can use this and master it in a second. Alright, let's get right into the video.
Yeah! 젠장! 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 젠장!
내게는 고통밖에 없습니다.
개보라야.